been in this line of work over 40 years. Nobody has ever tried to steal from me and lived long enough to spend a dime.
Hi, Luke. How are you doing, sir? Good to speak to you.
Yeah, good. How are you? G'day.
I'm good, thanks. First of all, congratulations on the movie Bring Him to Me. It's I watched it again yesterday to refresh my memory. It's great. I really enjoyed it. It's a kind of a fresh. It's kind of a fresh take on the road, on a kind of road movie, revenge kind of thriller. I was reading about you a little bit about your background. This is the first time that you've actually directed a film that you hadn't written yourself before, no? So I mean, and also it was written by a fellow Brit. So what was it about the specific script that kind of reached out to you? Was there anything kind of very British that kind of reached out to you, and then you eventually kind of later wanted to turn it into an American movie?
No, Tom kind of wrote it as like anywhere. Like you could do it in Britain, you could do it in Australia, you could do it in America. I mean, his names are very American, and we kept him. So I think for the market these days, putting my EP hat on for the market these days, I decided to go with American. Gives me a bit more uh, broad range with actors. So that's why I sort of kept it as American. How it spoke to me, I think I was looking for something to do different. And I was working with Tom on another movie that just couldn't get made for some reason or another. And I said, what else do you have? And he sent me the script, and he was still writing it at the time. So I gave him some advice, and within 2 weeks we were greenlit. So it was just right place, right time.
Uh-huh. You said that you gave him advice. What was the kind of the advice that you kind of gave him that you felt would kind of fit into the kind of film that you wanted to direct?
It was more for characters. Like the Sam Neill character in the script was like a one scene and done. And I identified that character as someone we could probably get a good actor for. So I asked, I sort of was back and forth with him to expand that character out, which he did. And then my first choice was really Sam Neill and only Sam Neill. So I went on a campaign to get Sam Neill, and it was a Hail Mary, but we got him, which was great.
Is it true that, I mean, you mentioned that Sam Neill's character, is it true that when you went to the writer to kind of develop this character, he was kind of a bit firm, saying he didn't want to change it, but then you coaxed him into it a little bit, and then Sam Neill came on board and he was like, "Yeah, Luke, you were right. I was wrong there."
That is a true story, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you convince him before Sam came on board?
Well, look, I vet my writers. Anyone who pitches to me, I get pitched a lot, right? But I vet them because writers can be very, and I know because I am one, they can be very, hold on to their
Their
script and their
baby,
story.
yeah.
Fair enough. So how I convinced him was just telling him that really, like, this is the best way. Very, very strongly worded email saying this is the best way to go. Trust my gut, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so luckily he listened, and we got Sam, which was great.
Uh-huh. And it's obviously it's great that Sam's in quite a protagonistic role, but I correct me if I'm wrong, but it just feels like that character maybe needed quite a lot of redrafting of the script to fit it all in, because if he was going to kind of get knocked off very early on, did that not kind of have kind of a domino effect on the rest of the script?
Yeah, it did. But I I can, when I read scripts as a director, like I can see them play out, and that's, I guess, what a director does, right? Like, so I could see the storyline play out as soon as I read it. I just had to convince Tom to do what I was telling him to do. But it was a major redraft. But that's what happens,
Yeah, brilliant.
And
And then tell a little bit about,
Tom,
sorry.
Tom's great because he does trust me. Because when I get on set, I don't really go off script. I mean, I go off script. I don't go off the script. I'm very much like, let's have the building blocks and let's play it out. And someone gives me an idea, someone gives me another idea, and suddenly you get these building blocks, and then you find one, you go, that's the one. So there was heaps of lines Barry gave out that wasn't scripted, and I'm all good with that. That's how I work.
Uh-huh.
So.
I think Barry was very much, I mean, you talked there about kind of building blocks. I think Barry was one of the kind of the main building blocks, because I don't think he was kind of originally the character, the actor that you wanted for this character. But at the same time, when he did come on board, I think everything really fell into place now. I mean, like he'd been training, he'd received training from NASCAR from a previous film that kind of helped you to film him in the car, and all these kind of things really kind of fit in once you came on board, no?
Yeah, that really helped out because we shot it in like 16 days, which is crazy. And without him being able to drive, I think that would have been just another hurdle to get over the film in 16 days. So he was amazing, and he had the beard and the long hair from the Paramount show he was doing. So it all just fit in. I was trying to develop a project with Barry, and then he went off to do that Paramount Plus, so we didn't think we could get him. And then he came back and was like, "Oh, they've postponed it or they've pushed it." And then within 24 hours, he was on this, so that worked out great.
Yeah. And then the other inspired bit of casting is Jamie Costa as well, because I mean, he's not been in kind of big things before, but you spotted him, I think, was it in a viral video, a video that went viral that he'd kind of did a short
Yeah,
film
a short
as
film
Robin
about
Williams, and it's absolutely perfect. This is very, very
yeah.
different in this role. So what was it about him that you saw kind of that would make him fit in this role?
Well, it was written originally by Tom as a bit more of like a Jesse Pinkman from Breaking
Right.
Bad, where he was already kind of like a gangster and he was already kind of like, "Yo, we'll do this thing," and he was kind of like he's supposed to be kind of annoying at the beginning in all the versions until the driver gets to know him, but it was more that sort of annoyingness. And I said, we've seen that. I've got this great kid in my mind, Jamie Costa, and let's go more like a sort of a nice guy who's just fallen in with the wrong people. So I kind of went that way.
Mm-hmm. And then how did they once those two kind of got together? Because obviously a lot of this, not all of it, but a lot of the film is shot inside this car. No, how did you
Mm-hmm.
kind of how did they create that chemistry? Because obviously they kind of like there is some kind of background there that we don't know once we kind of meet them. How did those two kind of go off? Did they go off their own ways, or did they get together to kind of to create this chemistry
I
that was
think
really important for the film?
they got together before we shot, and I sit with the actors like for a day each before I shoot, and I work with them and all that kind of stuff. Jamie's big question to me was he's not a father in real life, so
Right.
I am, and my daughter actually plays his daughter in the movie.
All right.
Um, so I let him sort of have a play date with my daughter and just get to know her and just telling him anecdotes about being a dad. Like he asked me like, how would you be in this like life and death situation? And I'm like, well, I would do anything I could to get back to her and all this kind of stuff. So we had a conversation about that, and then he worked with Barry. A lot of it was them two just being in the car and just again that workshopping it out as we were. I was focused on like everything else, like the look, the production design, everything else. So I have to give props to them. They were sitting in the car and they were just feeling each other out and coming up with different alternate versions and that.
And at the same time, he must have kind of had to feel himself out and create a bit of chemistry with the car, which is kind of like another character in the movie, no? How did you get,
Yeah.
how did he kind of get to grips with the car to kind of treat it as his car or his dad's car? That's not a spoiler, it's his dad's car. And then also, how did you decide on that specific car for the film?
Yeah, well, we shot it in Australia, so we drive on the other side of the road over here. So we had to go to car clubs and find people that had the left-hand drive American cars, and we had a big list of who was available, and then we kind of did a bracket system of working out which was the best for us. It was almost another car, and this car, got it out just by a hair's breadth, and I think it worked out really well. And then Barry, we let Barry take it for a day, and he's amazing with cars. So once he did that, it was all good.
Uh-huh. It's quite fun. I was looking on IMDb and you find all kinds of trivia on there. Someone was so finicky, so specific that they saw that in the film, they said that the Chevy was is it a 70? He said, I think it says in the film, and someone actually spotted that might have been a 71 because of the headlights or something like that.
No, see, yeah,
Or the other
everyone's
way
so
around, I
finicky.
can't remember.
It actually is a 70, but the guy who
Right.
owned it, he customized. He likes the other headlights better, so it's all like you open up the hood and it's a complete custom build, right? So he had custom lights on there. So the front lights different to the back lights, and I do know this. I do know this because he told me all about it. And I said, oh, someone's going to pick that up. And you can't really put up a little. You can't put up a little note comes up in the film. Did you know this movie? This car is a 70 with a 71 headlights. Like ordinary people aren't going to care about that. But yeah, so whoever wrote that's right. But also we know that it's not a flub.
Brilliant, brilliant. And what about filming in Queensland? Because you said there, the car had to kind of fit in with the scenery. How? I mean, I think that a lot of people do actually go to Queensland now to film kind of fake America over there. No, is it easy to kind of create
Well, they
a?
filmed that, and they filmed a heap of there's always sort of films coming over here. Ron Howard's just finished one, so there is locations around that do get used a lot, and I know of them. So I was able to sort of identify quickly a few areas, and the rest was going out and finding them myself, and yeah, it was interesting.
Uh-huh. And then was there any? I mean, it reminded me of quite a few road movies. Like I said, it's kind of it creates its own thing. But was there any specific kind of touchstones for you when you were kind of create this road movie that kind of way that you wanted to go, films that you wanted to kind of follow, and other pitfalls you didn't want it to fall into?
Yeah. Yeah, well, Tom pitched it to me as a Casino. Casino was his sort of basis of
Casino. All
that
right.
scene with Joe Pesci getting taken to the cornfield to get whacked.
Right. With the baseball bat.
His
Yeah.
whole idea was like his whole idea was like what was that drive like, and how would they go in that car? Were they laughing? Were they, whatever? So I watched Casino again for that. But a lot of people sort of mentioned to me about Locke with Tom Hardy.
Yeah. I
That's
was
all on
going
the
to say,
chart.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
people start throwing things at you, but I don't want to go watch it because I don't want it to be that. And so
Yeah. Is that what you tried to do when you're going to try? I mean, obviously, I think you said that you took the shift from kind of your previous movies because you didn't want to get pigeonholed. So when you
pretty
do
much,
when you do approach a specific genre, do you try and keep away from that to kind of make it your own thing?
yeah, that's what I do with this one as a test. So I definitely, because some other ones I've made sci-fi films, it's so ingrained in my blood that I end up kind of like just doing things naturally like other movies. This one I want to stay away from the genre and just kind of do my own thing with it.
Uh-huh. So was there any specific, I mean, like if steering away from those kind of films, keeping away from them, was there any specific pitfalls that you wanted to make sure you didn't go down with this one
Not
as a road
really.
movie? No?
Just really just make it my own thing. Just make it a different look. Have like a graphic novel feel with the lighting and just a few things like that. I wanted to try myself, and because it was a very different script, like it is its own thing. A lot of it, to be honest, a lot of it was made in the edit. It's my favorite part of the process, apart from the actors. My favorite part is the editing. So this film really took place in the edit. Like I was just so fast and furious filming every day. It wasn't until the edit where we really sort of decided on the pace and decided on the structure and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm. And then going back to the two main characters, a lot of the way that they warm to each other is kind of talking through family things, especially talking about their fathers. Was there any specific reason why you decided to go that route? I imagine that was in the script originally. Was there any specific reason why you thought that was the best way that they could bond?
I was in the script and I liked it, so I never really questioned it. And I think the whole film has very kind of father and son thing going on, whether it's Sam and his son or Barry surrogate to the passenger, or all these different people sort of having a father son or surrogate connection. I thought that was just an interesting layer.
No. The reason I ask is because then later on, kind of like the main antagonist is a female, no? So that was kind of, I thought maybe it was kind of a kind of just a kind of to turn things on its head towards the end there.
Yeah, I think so. It was always the script I got was always a female, which I thought was great.
Uh-huh, brilliant. Well, just to finish off, then I know that you said that you were working on a film with Tom before that didn't pan out. Is that the one that you're in? I think it's in post production now. Scurry.
Yes, it
Uh-huh.
all came back around. Okay,
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, this film was in post, and then the writer strike happened, and the actor strike happened, and a couple of the projects kind of got stopped because of that. And I quickly had the script for Scurry, and I quickly threw it in the production, and we filmed it during the strike, and or just after the strike, and yes, now it's in post and coming out this year.
Uh-huh. Curiously, I mean, you just mentioned their Lock, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think was it a one take movie? I think.
I don't know if it was a one
I can't remember.
maybe
I
it
know
is.
it
I'm
was
not sure. I think
just when you mentioned it, then I think it might have been. But yeah, so it's a one take movie, but it's not just a one take movie. It's in a tunnel, no? And you're going kind of through
yeah,
tunnels that are getting
yeah,
narrow. I mean, that's a
and
ton, that's
it
about
stars
that's kind of about the biggest gauntlet you could throw yourself, no?
I know, right? Um, yeah, it stars Jamie, who plays the passenger in this. So I brought him
Yep.
back to be in one as an every man, and he wakes up in a sinkhole, and it's all one shot take, and he's got to get out of the sinkhole, and there's a creature down there with him. So it's all in a one shot take, and it was very again. I shot that film again, and I think we shot it in like 15 days, and it was very difficult, very difficult to do this one shot take.
And can I ask how many takes you actually? I know it's a one shot, but how many takes
How many
did it
takes
take
to
you
get
to
there?
get the final
I think
take?
on average, it was like because people had to go home and sleep, right? So just like 1917, like it's a one shot take, but there's a few tricks to get through because obviously you can't be filming, 15 days, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
But look, on average, I think it was like 20 to 30 takes just to get things right. Because if one thing went wrong, you had to go back and do it all over again. So yeah, by the end of it, everyone was very, very tired of doing the
I
same
imagine.
thing over and over again.
Uh-huh. And is
Yeah.
when you said that it's a creature feature, no? Was all of that shot on camera as well, or is that something that you did post? Most of that.
Bits and pieces. We had practical effects.
That's as much as
on
you can
set,
give.
That's as much as we
Brilliant.
do.
That sounds great. Listen, I can't wait to see that one. Congratulations again on this movie, and I hope to speak to you again sometime soon about Scurry. It sounds great.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I thought I made it clear. Nobody steals from me and gets to live.